welcome to this edition of Your High School Sports. I'm your host, Roddy Woods, along with Chris Blevins and Chris Reddick, back from Halloween. So, guys, you cannot. The playoffs are something special. We talked about it a little bit last week, Chris, and it's like you get in the playoffs, you know you got to win, because if you don't, you're going home.
Oh, you go home.
And some of the teams that went home last week, like Johnson County, you know, you had your pick, GP.
Yeah, against Johnson County. So, I mean, and I know you're going to talk about this week, what they're going to do this week, but anybody can win when it comes to playoffs.
You got that right. You got that right. That's why it's so special.
That was proven with Crockett.
Yeah.
Crockett was 10-0 and number one seed, playing a number 4. You think, okay, that's an easy win. Let's move on down the road. No,
Overtime. And then you look at Science Hill. Winning the last seconds of the game. You have a pass. We talked to Bart Lyons, and Bart will talk more about it. But you have a pass play that gets them down there, and then they go out on the field and kick the field goal. But took it twice. Yeah, called timeout, tried to ice him, but he made it. But there was no time on the clock.
Exactly.
And it's about field goals in high school football at the last second. You think that's hard? That is super hard.
They do it twice.
So you would think almost like you got him. You get the field. No, field goal win. And we always say that, but that's not a gimme.
No, it's not. In high school football, no way. We are powered by Krispy Kreme Donuts here in Sevier County, on the Parkway, in Pigeon Forge, and on Highway 66, their new location right here in Sevierville. Close to our studio, you can see Chris eating a donut here. But hey, guys, let's jump into Class A. This week's second round, I'm going to name them off, and you guys kind of help me. You got Clouden and Cofield.
Well, I mean, these are two big teams that meet a lot in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I picked Clouden to win. We didn't pick the Cofield Jellicoe game last week, but I thought Cofield would win. I'm going to give the edge to Cofield this week.
I'm going Clouden.
You're going Cloud.
Carter County, baby.
Carter County. All right. The second game in that bracket, first Class 1A, is Oliver Springs and Greenback. You've already called Greenback. All right. We move on down. Whitwell and Lookout Valley. Whitwell's 10. They're 11-0 now. Lookout Valley would be 6-4.
I'm going with Whitwell.
All right, going with Whitfield.
What is it? Who is it?
Whitwell.
I'm not gonna say farewell to Whitwell. We're gonna keep it going.
All right, and then the final game in this Upper East Tennessee bracket is South Pittsburgh and Gardensville. And South Pittsburgh would be 10-1, and Gardensville would be 9-2.
Toss-up game there. I mean,
I'm going South Pittsburgh.
Yeah, and I'll go South Pittsburgh on that one too. I don't know much about them, so I don't want to. Don't really get either way. So, yeah.
When we come back, Bart Lyons is going to join us, and he's going to talk about the big win that Science Hill had in their next opponent. They got to be on the road. We'll talk a little bit about that later on in the 6A classification. So make sure you stay right here. We're coming right back on Your High School Sports.
Let's go. Let's go.
Get the right services you need from a name you can trust at Crescent Center Drugs. Whether it's hormone replacement therapy or if you need to update your immunizations for flu, pneumonia, or shingles, Crescent Center Drugs has a professional and friendly staff, always ready to take care of you. That's why for many years, Crescent Center Drugs has been your good neighbor pharmacy. Right now, getting your medicine is fast and easy when you sign up for the IVR system. It's simple. Once your prescription is filled, your box is scanned, and you instantly receive a phone call or text for pickup. Visit Crescent Center Drugs inside the Crescent Shopping Center.
Pretty good running attack by the Hilltoppers. Very talented junior running back Chris Thomas, and those guys up front, their offensive line did an excellent job of providing the alleys and lanes for him to run, and did a good job protecting our quarterback as well. So great job by the offensive line for the Hilltoppers. And we're going to take that win, and we're going to move on to Maryville next Friday.
And speaking of Maryville, I talked to Coach Hunt this morning, and he was talking about you guys, and he said that you guys are big, physical, and fast. And he said he was kind of wondering which Science Hill team will show up, and that's the key, to this week's game. Off that last-second field goal, do you think the momentum is on your side?
Absolutely. We had a big pass play. A.J. Stewart threw the pass to Josh Santiago. He tipped it up. He was double-teamed, tipped it, and the ball fell in the hands of our outstanding senior player, Shane Austin. Shane made the catch. Was able to get lined up, and Connor Rutledge come through in the clutch. And actually had to kick it twice because they called a timeout on his first kick. So very big clutch field goal by Connor Rutledge, a very talented junior kicker for Science Hill.
All right, well, let's move on. You guys had a lot of participants in the first round of the playoffs: Crockett, Boone, Tennessee High, and all three of them came up with a win.
Absolutely. You talk about the games ahead. Science Hill's got to make the road down to the trip down to Maryville, Tennessee High. They'll go to David Crockett. Daniel Boone will go on the road. They'll face off against Knox-Central. Southern South, they play the Machine. They play the Greenville Green Devils. Here's a game to watch, though. Elizabethton at Anderson County. Elizabethton at 10-1, Anderson County at 11-0. That should be a very, very good ball game. Two great teams going at it there.
And, that game last year was played up at Elizabethton, and Elizabethton, wasn't in the game. But I think they learned from that. We were talking to Chris here on the set, and he talks about maybe they learned something from that game last year. But Anderson County's a pretty good football team.
They are. And the one bad thing is when you talk about 4A football, we probably got three best teams in the state up here in East Tennessee. So the winner of that game, I believe, gets Greenville. So, three big-time quality teams here in East Tennessee, and we represented well in the Class 4A.
Yes, you are. What about some of those lower classes?
Lower classes, when you talk about 3A, you got Unicoi County Coach Drew Rice and Michael Foreman. They've done a great job with those Blue Devils. We're going to travel to Alcoa. Oneida, they'll come up and play Scotty Baran's South Green Rebels. And Cofield in Class 1A, they'll come up and play the Cloudland Highlanders. So still a lot of teams up here in Upper East Tennessee with the opportunity to go on and progress and maybe get down to Cookville and get an opportunity to play for that gold ball.
Oh, yeah. What's those magic words?
Hey, guys, as always, as we say it every week, go Toppers.
All right. We've been talking to Bart Lyons, our correspondent up in the northeast part of East Tennessee. His Hilltoppers still in the TSSAA playoffs. They travel to Maryville this Friday night. So when we come back here on Your High School Sports, we're going to dive into things and set up a lot of the games for this next week. So make sure you stay right here on Your High School Sports.
Express Shine Car Wash. You don't want to drive around in a dirty, dirty car. You gotta get it washed, Wanna show the whole world how fine you are. Go on and get it washed, time to get it washed. Take your foot off the gas and enjoy the ride. See the soap suds fly in the colorful neon light. For a clean, clean, clean like you've never ever seen. Claymore's Express Shine Car Wash.
Welcome back to Your High School Sports. Bart Lyons just laid it out on the line. Science Hill came through at the end. He talked a little bit about Crockett and Boone and then the Machine, as he calls Greenville.
That's right.
A few things about what Bart's talking about. You got to make that trip to Maryville.
Mm-hmm.
You
make it proud, loud and proud, baby.
Well, I asked Coach Hunt, and we'll hear from him a little bit later. He didn't, Maryville's Maryville, okay? But he didn't say it. But he said he didn't know which team was going to show up.
Yeah, Hilltoppers, like we talked about off camera, they're one of the scariest teams out there. I mean, if you really look at their record, they should be 10-1. No,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
It'd be 9-1.
No, 10-1 with the playoff game. Right. Yeah, the only real whooping they took was Greenville. Other than that, this team can play with anybody in 6A.
Yeah.
So if I were Maryville too, I wouldn't take it light.
No, I wouldn't take it light at all because, hey, Coach Carter will have
They
his
have
team
weapons
with.
that can score quick. That's the other thing too.
That's what Coach Hunter had said there. When you hear listen to his interview, he'll talk about big, fast, and physical.
Oh, yeah.
Science Hill is. So you gotta get ready.
Dangerous.
Dangerous. All right, let's get into Class 2A, guys. South Green will host Oneida.
Well, Oneida beat Happy Valley this past week, which I picked Happy Valley, so that makes me think Oneida might got something going on. I'm still taking South Green in this one.
Oneida, you know what? I like them in this one. South Green, they had that three-way tie, but they went in and crowd South Green with it. But remember, South Green lost to Happy Valley.
Yes.
And they lost pretty bad. So I
Yes.
don't know if that was just, you know, you got to think about it. They already really were crowned champions by that point. Sometimes it's kind of like in the NFL, your mind's not really all into it. But anyway, you go that route, I'm going to go Oneida, and we're going to find out.
All right.
Find out.
All right. In the second bracket will be Rockwood and Meigs County. Rockwood's coming in at 7-4. They beat Hampton last week. You know, at Hampton.
Yeah.
You know, and anytime you go play Hampton at Hampton and you win, you know you're in a dogfight. Okay. Now, the Bulldogs and Meigs County beat up on Sullivan North. So that Meigs County is 11-0, guys.
We're going to keep it there.
They're going to keep it in Meigs County, huh? All right. They beat Rock. All right. Okay. Now let's go down toward Chattanooga. The Chattanooga bracket, you got Chattanooga Tyner playing Trousdale County. Trousdale County is 8-3, and Chattanooga Tyner 10-1.
Like it? Mm-hmm.
Tyner. All right. We stay in that bracket. West Marlin, which is a 8-3 team. They go up against Watertown, which is 11-0.
Watertown, baby.
Watertown, baby.
Watertown,
Watertown, baby.
Watertown.
Watertown, baby. All right, let's jump over to Class 3A. That was Class 2A. Let's go to 3A. At the top of the bracket, you got.
By the way, what are you using there? What brackets are you using?
I'm using your high school
You're
sports
so nice
bracket.
and smooth when you're going
You know,
damn
if you want to see the brackets, our webmaster is fantastic. Scott's
You're moving real smooth.
You got that right. Our brackets, if you want our brackets on your high school sports, it's the same TSSAA brackets. We have just made it a lot easier for you to move around in the brackets. You can print the bracket. You can keep up with we're in the second round now, so go to your high school sports, pull up the bracket. It's in the middle of the website. You know, it's smooth, as we say.
Spread it out too. They can keep up.
Yeah, they can keep up with it. Plus, you know, they got to come up with the gold balls. Gold balls at the end of the season.
Big prize there, too.
Yes, it is big prize. All right, let's jump back in here. Gatlinburg Pittman. All right. You know, now you have to give GP. You talked about it.
Yeah, go ahead.
You talked about it last week.
Well, the only thing I was saying is I saw them play in person this year. So when I saw them play in person, I noticed that we all talked about how good they pass the ball. They're a big passing team, and they didn't pass at all. So I noticed right then they could change it up and get on the ground and just run it over top of you, or they could pass it, obviously. So when I saw them going up against Johnson County 9-1, I knew their record being 6-4 was probably not telling, kind of like Science Hill. I knew that there was a possibility it could be better than that. And now, I know you're going to say Austin East has got something for them, but I'm telling you, get a little fire under GP. That's a team you don't want to see coming downhill on you when they got two running backs on each side, and they might do the little, you know, what they call it, the play action pass. We call it the
Play action.
Yeah, but they got a code for it now. But anyways,
Run pass option.
yeah, but they got an RPOs.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
RPOs. They got an RPO everywhere, so it's hard to keep up with GP. So I think that GP can beat Austin East, but I think it's going to be a tough game. Now, where's that going to be played at?
It's played at Austin East.
Well, it's going to be tough too, but we'll find out.
Well, I already know. Roadrunners. Beat. Next round.
All right. Now, this is a game, you know, we've been following them along, but Unicoi County has got to make that trip down the road to Alcoa. And them Tornadoes, as you know, they are ranked #1 in the USA Today Tennessee poll over teams like Oakland and Maryville and #1.
And Greenville.
They beat Maryville. They should be.
Yeah.
I mean, but ain't nobody stopping up. So
Okay.
Well, let me give a shout out to Unicoi. Unicoi won for the first time in the playoffs in 30 years.
That's amazing.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Alcoa.
Okay. You can shout. Okay, let's go to the Chattanooga bracket. Chattanooga bracket, which is Chattanooga Red Bank. They're 10-0, and they're going up against Sequatchie County, which will be an 8-4, 8-3 team. But, you know, I asked you last week who's the famous player that came from Red Bank?
And we talked about it, and it was, I got to remember what it
Joe Riggs.
Joe Riggs.
Played at UT.
Well, you put my money on red. I'm going with Red Bank.
Red Bank, baby.
Red Bank. All right, and
Red Bank.
York Institute, which is a 9-2 team, going up against Upperman, who is 11-0. Game played at Upperman.
It's going to be a good one. Yeah, not a lot of statistics on my end of it, but I'll go with the home team. We're going to play Upperman, so I'll take that.
I'm up and away.
You Upperman? All right. Well, let's go one more. Well, let's take a break here, guys, and let's go hear what Coach Hunt from Maryville has to say about the mighty Science Hill Hilltoppers. On the line now is Maryville head coach Derek Hunt. Coach, we just had a brief conversation in our second. You never know what Science Hill is going to bring. So how are you preparing for this week's game?
Well, we're preparing just like we always do, but you're right. Science Hill, you know, they kind of haven't had an up and down season, but they've won a lot of big games. You know, they beat a really good Bearden team that we saw last week, and you know they lost by, to Farragut by 2. They've beaten Ooltewah, who is our number 2 seed in our region, and so man, they really won some big games, and they beat a really good Bradley team last week in the first round of the playoffs. So they've got some great players, and Coach Carter does a really good job there.
You know, when you took over the head coach job at Maryville, you knew these kind of games were going to come up. You guys have you've lost only one game, and that was to your crosstown rival. But you know, going into the playoffs right now, how's your team health-wise, Coach?
Well, we're probably about like every other team that's still playing football. We're banged up, and you've got some guys who are you know, sore but still playing. We lost a couple guys earlier in the year to knee injuries for the rest of the season. And so, you know, anytime you lose guys, especially at the 6A level, you know, that's a big deal. It's a big deal at any level, but that's a lot of, you know, when you get in the playoffs, a lot of times, you know, your depth plays a huge role, and so losing any number of guys is a big deal. But we played without one of our quarterbacks last week. We've been playing 2 quarterbacks all year long. Cade Chambers, one of them, he rolled his ankle in practice and was unable to play the first round game. And you know, fortunately, we had another one who was ready to go and did great. So yeah, injuries play a role this time of year, and you try to limit them as much as you can, obviously. But you know, we've got great trainers. Joe Black, our head trainer, does an unbelievable job, and Brandon Waters, our strength coach, he does a lot of work in the weight room to prevent injury as well. And so we've been very fortunate to have their help. And but like I said, everybody this time of year is banged up and bruised, and you're just trying to gut it out.
You know, when you're in the playoffs like this and you're facing a team that you don't know what they're going to bring each week, like Science Hill, like they've beat some big teams and they've lost us a few teams. But you know, what does Maryville have to do to win this game this week against Science Hill?
Well, I think the little things, you know, you can always go back to those. You know, and I think if we don't turn the ball over and execute offensively, then we'll have a chance to score some points. You know, if we turn it over and give them field position and put our defense in some bad spots, then it could be tough. You know, it could be bad. So we got to protect the football, and then defensively, we're going to have to rally to the ball well. You know, they've got some explosive players on offense. We've seen some of that this year. We've also seen some bruiser type offenses, and they can kind of do a little bit of both. Our quarterback's a really good running back as well. He runs the football well, and so that's always a challenge for any defense. We're going to have to rally to the ball well and tackle as a team in order to kind of contain these guys.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you taking a moment of your day to talk to us here on Your High School Sports, and good luck on Friday night against Science Hill.
Okay, thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it.
All right. We've been talking to Coach Derek Hunt, head coach of the Maryville Red Rebels. They take on Science Hill this Friday night in the second round of the TSSAA playoffs.
Just look at all those freshly made Krispy Kreme donuts. I'm sure it makes you want one or a dozen right now. So come visit our locally owned and operated Krispy Kreme donuts in Pigeon Forge. Our Krispy Kreme donuts are made fresh daily, our service is fast and friendly, and the taste will put a smile on anyone's face. Krispy Kreme is a fundraising favorite, so call us today to help support your school or community fundraising efforts. Our delivery truck is there when you need us. Krispy Kreme Donuts on the Parkway in Pigeon Forge.
Welcome back to Your High School Sports. I'm your host, Roddy Woods, and we are powered by Krispy Kreme Donuts on the Parkway here in Pigeon Forge, or at their new location on Highway 66 in Sevierville. Chris Blevins and Chris Reddick are here, and we're talking about the 2018 TSSAA State Football Playoffs. And guys, there's been some good games. We heard from Coach Hunt just a moment ago, Maryville head coach. You know, he's talking, what he has to do against Science Hill.
He knows what he's got to do. I mean, he understands that this is a team that is on fire. They haven't lost in 5 games. They got on a 5-game winning streak, something like that. So
He's happy he's at home probably too.
Yeah, he's happy. That's what he said. Yeah. He's glad we're at the house. So.
Here's the only thing. If Science Hill doesn't fall into the trap, sometimes it's mental. I mean, you look at, Maryville, oh God. The thing is, just get rid of that and play how they know how to play ball. Make it a football game and not about where we are and look at all the banners and get out of that. They can get out of that world, which that's intimidating to be like Chris played it. So if they can get out of that, we can have a good football game. At least for the first half.
For the first half. For the first half. Okay.
No, seriously, man. He'll talk. I mean, they're going to. I've been rooting for them. They could surprise me.
Coach Hunt.
Be interesting.
Coach Hunt said, ask him about. You heard me ask him about. Was his team healthy?
Yeah.
He's got a lot of bumps and bruises, and they lost their starting quarterback. He did not play in the first round. He turned his ankle.
So is he going to be ready?
He'll be ready.
Okay.
So they get their starting quarterback back, but don't sound like they lost anything with the second team quarterback.
Yeah, they come in.
Maryville's.
They're
Maryville's. All right, let's go into Class 4A, guys. If you want to see these brackets, go to yourhighschoolsports.com and you'll see the same brackets that we're looking at here. Greenville, the machine, as Bart calls them.
Greenville.
Okay, South Sullivan South, so I'm not even going there. The game, guys, this is the game right here. Elizabethton will travel down to Anderson County.
This is going to be interesting because, I like to go and look at the numbers there. And Anderson County, they have a team that Elizabethton beat last week, Howard. That's from their conference. Mm-hmm. Now, if you just look at box scores, because I was looking at Anderson County, and Anderson County's been wearing everybody out, except there was one team they didn't wear out, and guess who it was?
Howard.
So last week, Elizabethton plays Howard, and they have a battle ahead of them. I think Howard actually was leading at one point 6-0, and it was looked like a troublesome game, but Elizabeth was able to pull it out, and guess what their score was? 28-14, the same score as Anderson County, 28-14 over Howard. What does that mean? Absolutely nothing. But like you said, it's going to be an exciting game. Of course, I'm rooting for Betsy.
I just hope that Elizabethton stays on track so we can go down there and watch Greenville and Elizabethton rematch from regular season, which you said was one of the best football games you've ever watched.
Oh, it was great high school football.
And so imagine if it comes up into this. So Elizabethton, we're rooting for both teams, but I'd like to see Elizabethton move on so we can see Greenville. But I think Anderson County is going to be a tough out.
And let me turn the tables back to Anderson County. Mm-hmm. We've got a little triangle here, circle of love here. These are probably the toughest teams in 4A.
Yes.
So Elizabeth and Greenville is going to be great. Elizabeth playing Anderson County, great game. If it so happened to be Anderson County, great. I mean, these next couple of weeks, there's going to be some good football.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. And the thing that goes with the winner of the Elizabeth and Anderson County game gets home field advantage. So you got to get Greenville to come to your house.
Wow, that'll be amazing.
And both are going to be tough because if they go to Elizabeth's going to remember what happened in the regular season. If they go to Anderson County's going to remember what happened last year.
Last year. All right, let's go to the Chattanooga bracket. The Chattanooga bracket, Marshall County and Tullahoma. Marshall County is 5-6. And Tullahoma is 9-2. Playing at Tullahoma.
Who did Marshall County?
They upset Stone Memorial.
Yeah.
Stone Memorial was 9-1.
Well, I'm going with.
You going with upset?
I'm going upset. I'm
not going with Cinderella?
I'm not. No.
You going with Tullahoma?
Yeah.
All right. What about you? What about you, Mr. Blevins?
I'm going the opposite.
You going with Marshall County? Okay.
Yep.
All right. Nolensville and Maplewood. Maplewood is 10-1. Nolensville is 7-4.
Maplewood.
Okay.
Maplewood, I'll second that one.
All right, Maplewood. Now let's kick over to Class 5A, which is another very good bracket, guys. If this is 5A was the bracket like 6A last year. Remember how But look at
There's
you
a lot
got
of parity.
Yes, you have. You got Davy Crockett rematch with Tennessee High 3 weeks ago. They went to overtime.
Yeah.
With Crockett. Tennessee High did. Tennessee High men went on the road, guys, and beat South Dahl.
That's right. Tennessee High as a team is kind of like they're like the Science Hill of 5A. They're that dangerous team you don't really want to play because they like glue. They like to stick around. And sometimes it goes to their favor and sometimes it doesn't. So, like you said, it was an overtime game. Tennessee High is going to remember that. Here's the only thing. Crockett just came out of an overtime game. And I think with that happening, I think Crockett's going to now wake up. That was their wake-up call to let them know we've got to do it again. We've got to get Tennessee High again. But like I said, Tennessee High is right there waiting to upset them.
I bet.
All right. Now, the game that later on in the show, you hear from Coach Rosner from Knox-Central. Me and him had a conversation earlier this week. But Daniel Boone travels to Knox-Central.
Trailblazers. They're going to trail a blaze to Knoxville with Charlie Cole and the quarterback Harold there. That team is a scary team.
Yes.
You'll watch them and sometimes you'll think I could be watching paint dry and it'd be more entertaining. But then all of a sudden, because they like to run the ball and just ground and pound, but every once in a while they wake you up and they wake you up quick. But boom.
Big play.
60-yard, 70-yard. And then all of a sudden you're like, whoa, this is a game. So with that being said, it's going to be interesting to see what happens against Central. Because I'm thinking back to that Daniel Boone game. They played around with Science Hill. It was going tit for tat and hanging around. Next thing you know, they open up at the end and upset a good, to me, Science Hill team. So, golly, I want to say Central, but like I said, Boone is another scary team. Like I said, 5A is just...
It is.
It's hard to pick.
Then we move on down to...
Daniel Boone.
You're going Boone. You're going Boone.
And I think the reason why I'm going Daniel Boone is they want to get Tennessee High or Davy Crockett again.
Ooh,
and I think that's why they're going to have something in their mind. And they're going to go down to Knox-Central thinking, man, we get through this one game, we get a shot.
Especially if they get
at
Crockett.
Tennessee, or if we get Crockett, oh my
rematch.
And that's what happens in these playoffs.
Let's get Boone, too.
Once you get into here, those rivalries come back alive for the season. I want to get back to that.
Yeah. That's why we're talking about this. This is a big time bracket, guys.
Big, huge.
If you win, I'm just going out on a limb. If you win this top of the bracket, you win the state. Because look what we got coming up. Look, okay, the Chattanooga bracket. Look, the next game is Knox-Fulton plays Catholic.
And Catholic is on fire.
Yes, they are. Fulton coming in at 10-1, and Catholic's coming in at 7-3.
Yeah.
And you never count out Coach Matthews' team.
No, this is when he likes to really put it on you and get
Yes.
He coming there 6-4, but if he's in the playoffs, he can still get a state title.
Yes.
I'm gonna go Fulton. I think Fulton's just a solid team.
Yeah, they're ready, and they're ready for the
Veteran
playoffs.
quarterback, good defensive backs. Like Chris said, they're ready.
They're ready. All right, and then we move on down again. You got Oak Ridge still in it. Oak Ridge is 9-2, and they playing Saudi Daisy, who is 6-4.
Saudi Daisy is a tough team. Saudi Daisy, they beat Catholic in the regular season.
Yes,
So
it
I'm not
is.
sure
They got to go to Saudi Daisy.
Yes, they
Oak
do.
Ridge, but that's going to be their tough game. So we need to get past these. I mean, my goodness.
That's what I said. The top. My opinion is the top of this bracket, the state champions coming out.
Yeah.
They are. There's some good teams over on the West Tennessee and Middle Tennessee side, but we've got the top of the best of the best is here.
Good football.
Right.
So-
County and all these people down here below better be looking up.
Looking up. All right. When we come back here on Your High School Sports, Coach Rosner is going to join us from Knox-Central, and then we're going to come back and we're going to set up Class 6A, and we're going to unveil our top 10. So make sure you stay right here on Your High School Sports. We're coming right back. I'm talking to head coach of the Central High Bobcats, Coach Rosner, and his team won in the first round of the playoffs, 48-6 over Cott County, but they take on a big, fast, physical team this Friday night, Daniel Boone. Coach, welcome to the show, and talk a little bit about Daniel Boone for us.
Got a chance to see them last year in the first round. Went up to their place. Coach does a great job with his team. You are right, and everything that you said. They are fast. They're physical. Like to get after in the run game. And they love to stop the run. So you have two teams that really like to run the ball. And it's going to be a challenge for both teams. It's going to be about who can control the line of scrimmage. And us having the game at our place, obviously we feel good about that. It gives us a little bit of an advantage, not having to travel, so on and so forth. But we're looking forward to the challenge, and just glad we're happy to be in that round.
Coach, when you play a game like you played last Friday night against Cott County in the first round, is that something that you had a lot of people play? Does that help you down the road in case something, injuries happen? Does that help you having a game like last Friday night?
A little bit. We were fortunate to do some really good things on both sides of the ball, which was great. And even special teams were able to make a couple of plays there. So, we did get an opportunity toward the end to get some guys in and get a feel for the game and see what that's like. And you hope that, nothing gets to that point where you have to put certain guys in. But, yes, it does allow you to use some of your depth and get some guys some experience in the game, in the playoff game.
Now, Daniel Boone has a big running back, Charlie Cole, big physical running back. How do you stop Charlie Cole?
You got to hit him. A couple of things you have to do well in any football game is you have to run and you have to tackle. So that's one thing we will focus on is making sure that we run to the ball and that we tackle the ball carrier. Their quarterback is also a really good runner as well.
Yes, he is.
He's second in the league and they're rushing. So you have two guys in the backfield that at any point in time can take it to the house, and we just have to be very disciplined in our run stopping and make sure if we get a chance that we hit the ball carrier as best we can.
Give me one key point that you have to do to win this game Friday night, Coach.
Cut out the penalties. We had a lot of penalties. We want to be error-free. We were stopping a couple drives last Friday with penalties towards ourselves, so we have to get some momentum and make sure the penalties are cut out so that the momentum of the game can stay our way.
Last question. You've been in this situation a few times since you've been head coach at Central. Give me, if you can, a scenario of this team versus those other teams that you've been this far in the playoffs.
These groups are clicking. This group right now is clicking on all cylinders, and I mean that in a couple of different ways. If you throw the win streak, out of the way, you have a bunch of kids right now that just believe in each other in a way that, it's just hard to really explain. Our defense is flying around and they're having fun every single day. The kids, when they come out to practice, it's not something that they dread. It's something they look forward to. And you have a group right now that just really doesn't want the season to end. And those other teams, it's not like they want it to, either. But this group right here, they're just having a whole lot of fun playing with and for one another. And that makes it easier to come.
All right. Well, we've been talking to Coach Rosner, the head coach of Central High Bobcats. They take on Daniel Boone this Friday night. Coach, good luck, and we'll talk to you soon, hopefully.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me on.
All right. Welcome back to Your High School Sports, powered by Krispy Kreme Donuts. You can see Chris, he's
It's my third one. We got to wrap the show up.
I know you're going to have them all eat up and nobody else going to get any. All right, 6A classification. This is another one of those brackets, I'm telling you. Farragut, Coach Courtney's team, they beat up Cleveland last week. They are 10-1 now, and they play Ooltewah. Ooltewah is 9-2.
Ooltewah has some athletes.
Yes, they
do.
do.
Sure. Oh, if these guys get loose, it's Ooltewah all the way. But, You're playing a very good team, solid team, and I'm going to let Chris make that pick.
I'm going Ottawa.
Ooh, at home. Ooh, okay.
Who plays at home?
Ooh, no. Fair. Play it fair.
I'll still take Ottawa. They got the athletes go against Farragut. Farragut's very good. I think it's one of those games that you said you don't expect it to be like that. They're going to come and hit you in the mouth.
Let me tell you about Ottawa's fans, man. They're gonna rock the house. They're gonna bring it too. The fans are gonna bring it just as strong as the team. They got some serious backing.
They're serious
So
back.
it could happen.
So look out, Coach Courtney. Ottawa's coming. And in the game, we heard Coach Derek Hunt from Maryville, talk about Science Hill, how dangerous they are, and he talked about his team being on all cylinders, kind of. They're healthy. I'm gonna let you talk. You two talk about Science Hill, Maryville. We heard what Bart Line said.
Well, Hilltoppers, here's the key. Defense. They got to show me a little bit more pride on defense. If they can somehow wake the defense up and let them understand what they got ahead of them, and play some good, solid defense. Offense, I'm pretty good with them. Like I said, they can make a lot of magic happen. But if their defense can at least keep them in the game, it's a good possibility for upset.
Okay.
But I'm just going to leave it at that. I mean, like I said,
You're not picking.
I'm going to leave it at that.
You'll leave it open.
Here's what I think is going to happen. I think Science Hill has wibble wobbled through the season, shown flashes of greatness, shown flashes of weakness, shown flashes of who is Science Hill, and now they're here in the playoffs here. They're at home or going on the road to Maryville. Maryville's talking about being healthy after being banged up, and Science Hill is still. Chris wants to see defense. Offense is good. Maryville can expose you. They're at home. The bright lights are on. I don't think that the banners are going to be really a factor. I think they're going to be there. Obviously, they're not going away, and Science Hill's going to see them. But they're a seasoned team. They are not worried about that. But when it gets on the field, I think Maryville's going to have a game plan against Science Hill, and they're going to just expose them on what they're not good at during the game. And here's the thing: if Science Hill can go in at halftime though and keep it close, maybe they can turn it around because they do have that X factor. You don't know what you might get. So, but Maryville, I think, has enough blueprints on them to take care of that and go on to the next round. So I'm taking Maryville, but I think Science Hill could be there, like you said. It's how close it might be.
It's either going to be, I'm like Chris, it's either going to be close or blowout. And if it's a blowout, you already know who's going to win that game.
All right.
That Science has got to keep it close.
Well, we move on to the mid. There's the Chattanooga region really doesn't do much in the 6A, so it goes kind of to the middle of the state, Middle Tennessee. You got Oakland, powerful Murfreesboro, Oakland.
There we go.
They're 10-1.
Keep it there.
And they play Hendersonville, who is 8-3.
I like Oakland, man. They're good.
That's what I said. Keep it with Oakland. You didn't even have to say the next one, just Oakland.
All right. And then you've got another 10-1 school, Blackman.
There you go.
Okay, but before you go there now, Mount Juliet. Mount Juliet is 11-0.
Okay.
But they play Cookville.
It was 5-5.
5-5, which no records don't do. I bet Blackman, man, they got some athletes too. So.
Yeah, they stay solid.
Year in and year out, they have athletes.
If you want to call it a down year, but
You're struggling on that one.
I'm going to keep it with Black.
You'll keep it with Blackman. All right, guys, that is the Class 1A through Class 6A. We only do the top part of the bracket because that's the area we cover. So if you want to see the complete bracket, go to yourhighschoolsports.com. You can see the complete bracket. You'll see some of those teams that Chris was talking about from West Tennessee and Middle Tennessee. But we cover where the gold balls come back to.
That's right.
There's
That's
going to be a bunch
right.
of
So that would be from. We're not counting Chattanooga. We're counting that more of the Knoxville area.
Yeah, because that's where the ball come.
Yeah.
That's where they come back.
I'm just saying, as far as because the brackets, like I said, they get into Chattanooga and even Middle Tennessee, but we're not looking at that.
I would like to have a stat of how many gold balls have actually come back to East Tennessee versus Middle Tennessee and West Tennessee.
that we can figure that
Well,
out.
hey, what do they call Chattanooga? What is that?
That
Because
is-
they're East Tennessee, but they're still kind of in the middle because they have the shape of Tennessee. What are they actually?
The
They call it lower East Tennessee. I mean,
It has to be because you got some like Maryville plays. They're in the bracket with Ottawa, and they're in the bracket with Bradley Central. And that's going toward Chattanooga. Cleveland is in that bracket.
They're like borderline middle and borderline east.
Yeah.
They're kind of.
Same as Anderson County. They play Chattanooga Howard. They play East Hamilton.
That's is more our way.
Yeah, and look at Maryville. They're more our way.
Yeah.
So that Chattanooga,
interesting, yeah.
there's no really big Class A schools, 6A schools in the Chattanooga market.
Yeah, it's missing.
That's one of the classifications that's missing. Because most of those, you got Chattanooga McCallie, they're independent.
Yeah.
You got what is it? What else is down there? McCallie, and there's another school that is a quote-unquote private school down there.
Oh, and
Chattanooga Baylor. So they're private schools, so they don't even count. They would be in Class 6A, but they don't count. They don't count, though. So, hey, we're talking here about classifications. When we come back, we're going to throw out our top 10. Again. You see if it's changed. Plus, we would like for you to go in to your high school sports, guys, and tell us how many gold balls are coming back to East Tennessee. But Chris, classify that. You said some other things they've got to do.
Well, you got to make sure you first cast your vote on how many gold balls are coming back to East Tennessee, and the second thing you have to do to be able to enter is to share your high school sports on Facebook. Do those two things, simple, easy, don't cost a thing, and you might win a great prize.
Share if you care, and you may win.
All right, we're coming right back with your high school sports top 10 right after this.
Just look at all those freshly made Krispy Kreme donuts. I'm sure it makes you want one or a dozen right now. So come visit our locally owned and operated Krispy Kreme donuts in Pigeon Forge. Our Krispy Kreme donuts are made fresh daily, our service is fast and friendly, and the taste will put a smile on anyone's face. Krispy Kreme is a fundraising favorite, so call us today to help support your school or community fundraising efforts. Our delivery truck is there when you need us. Krispy Kreme donuts on the Parkway in Pigeon Forge.
Welcome back to your high school sports, powered by Krispy Kreme Donuts here in Sevier County. 2 locations, the Parkway location in Pigeon Forge and the new location on Highway 66 in Sevier County. It's time for the top 10, guys. It hadn't changed in about 3 or 4 weeks here.
And it hadn't changed that much this time. This week's going to definitely change it up, but we're going to go ahead and throw it out here. We'll start with number 10. We got Greenback, which they still on a roll, so they got a big game this week. Number 10, number 9, Oak Ridge. Every one of these teams about the name got a big game this week, so don't get me wrong. But number 9, Oak Ridge. Number 8, Davy Crockett. Number 7, Elizabethton. Number 6, Anderson County. Number 5 is Fulton. Number 5 is Farragut, which I say is going to get upset by Ottawa this week. Then we got number 5, Farragut. Number 4, Fulton. Number 3, Maryville. Number 2, Green Devils.
The machine.
And number 1, Alcoa. And guess what? This next week, you are right. There's going to be some changes in the top 10. Comment on there who you think should be number 1 next week after these games come up. And we'll be on there talking back with you. And next week, we'll make sure we talk about all the changes and the upsets and who's going on for the next round of the playoffs.
And how many gold balls are coming back to East Tennessee. Guys, it's playoff time. It doesn't get any better than this, does it?
Beautiful. It's awesome.
I was thinking about it today on my ride back from Johnson City. I was thinking about, we have been doing this for 6 years, and it always gets more exciting doing playoff seasons. I love playoff time, guys.
We're going to go to the state championship this year.
Yeah, that would be nice down in Cookville. That'd be
awesome.
nice.
I'm sure some of those teams will be there.
Oh, yeah, there'll be some teams there.
Touch a goal ball.
Touch a goal ball.
Touch one.
All right, guys. For Chris Blevins and Chris Reddick, I'm Roddy Woods. And we'll see you right here next week on Your High School Sports. All right.